Hello, friends! Welcome to another lovely matchup for CCA League Season 7. My name is Grace, and I'm joined today by the ever so lovely Rice. We like Rice. We like Rice.
Hello. All
Big
right.
fan, big
Well,
fan.
no, I'm a big fan too, Grace. Come on.
Oh my god, stop it, stop it.
But yeah, so today we have our quarterfinals match of Division 2 here. We have uh, is it TAMU or TAMU White? Texas A&M versus they come to my land and I hate speaking their or I hate trying to say their name every time because I always get confused. It's Do Leaf Sheep Dream of Sleep. From UC Santa Cruz.
I love them so much. I love them so much, Rice. That's so cute that they go to Booyah Bay, you mean? Your land?
Yeah, they come to Buyabe. Yeah.
That's so cute. We love that. But I've commentated now two of their sets. One was
Mhm.
last league season, and then I just did one. I did their week one match against HLG Blue, where they 4-0'd the heck out of them. And we interviewed them, and we were like, that was so cool. And they were like, yeah, whatever, girl. they were they were like nonchalant about it. I love them so much. Oh my god, I gotta shut up. Wait, TAMU White is the first in Group 1. They went 5-0 and they only lost 4 total games in groups, Rice. So TAMU White, they are big big boys. they're
Yes,
definitely gonna be one of the
indeed.
teams to beat here.
Definitely. Well, I guess we're getting started pretty quick here on Urchin. Splat Zones on Urchin Underpass. We see actually both sides with double Dreadringer and then the double dually comp coming out from UC Santa Cruz here, Grace.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I feel like a lot of folks switch to stuff that isn't usually their main on Urchin, or it's your favorite map ever. But I feel like it's a bit of an awkward shape compared to other ones, other maps here, which is fun though because I feel like a lot of the criticisms with Splatoon map design is that they're all kind of very similar, like box number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hmm.
But Urchin is a different shaped box, and I like that. I like that there's little trees by the zone. Reminds me of Inkblot.
Yeah, the different geometry on this map also kind of differs players that usually have anchors to kind of like swap off the traditional anchor weapons. We can kind of see here no one really playing that, long range weapons here, but we see this Dreadringer pop that Reef Slider, try to get some space for a team. Crafting comes out on the side of UC Santa Cruz, and that's going to be the zone cap for them.
Yeah, my gosh. Leaf Sheep, they do not sleep. They want to slay the heck out of TAMU White here. But I already see Trooper going for that little flank. I love when folks use that right drop flank to try to get into the zone, get another angle for their friends to try to get into the zone as well. You can have the most successful flanks happen though when there's enough stuff happening in front of the flank so that you're not just only drawn to the flank itself. But unfortunately, I mean, they do go down. But there's a little bit of rooms, a little bit of space happening here for TAMU White, but they're not quite able to get to the zone at all. I mean, they're like jumping to each other. They're able to reef it. Oh, but the reef cheese doesn't work anymore. Wait. Strike cheese. Oh, okay, no cheese. I gotta stop. There's no cheese.
No cheese just yet, but the cap for TAMU, which is good, puts that penalty onto Do Leaf Sheep. Do Leaf Sheep, though, still having good positioning here. We see Typo get a pick on that Dynamo, trying to live from this Dreadringer right now. Gets taken down, but, they get the zone cap right back, and I think that's going to be a pick for that Dreadringer there.
Oh my lord. I I feel like we're just watching everybody throw themselves at each other, which I think is the urchin way, and I do always think that that's very hilarious. I feel like as soon as somebody gets cooler, they like put it up all the way to their face, they push them back, they try to lock them out, and then it's up to like a flank or just brute force to try to get them out of here. And we already see the brute force is pretty much working. I mean, Trooper here with this crab, the strikes coming out, don't quite go to cheese the zone, but instead push out the members of Leaf Sheep, who are now sleeping with the fishies because two of them are dead.
Yeah, but we do see that's actually a third down. It's just Sylvette trying to hold the space here, gets a trade onto Trooper, but that's gonna be the hold for TMU, and this might be a pretty good hold just in terms of, they have a lot of space here. The Dynamo under this ledge, trying to pick off Typo. Typo getting that crab tank popped, might get that. This might be the entry for the side of Do Leaf Sheep. But Trooper here fighting the crab tank with Typo. One-on-one, Typo wins that pick. 2 sliders going out onto the zone, but that's gonna be TAMU holding the zone for now.
I was about to say, like, what if we boop the Reef Sliders' noses? Like, that was hilarious. How do you out cheese the cheese? You become the cheese. But we can see Andy here absolutely massacring the members of Leaf Sheep. Once again, I'm not gonna say sleep with the fishies again, but oh, and they completely cancel out the Reef Slider cheese again. My gosh, I feel like TAMU White, that there was a bit of a back and forth though here, but it felt like they knew the textbook way to take control and keep control on Urchin Zones. That was a very, very well fought game from them, and it felt like they were still pretty. They had control even when they didn't have the zone. They got in there really easily there.
Yeah, we kind of saw, the reverse happen to Leaf Sheep towards the end there. At the beginning of the game, Leaf Sheep had a lot of control of the zone, a lot of control of the enemy plat, but it kind of reversed. It reverse snowballed for the side of TMU, where they finally got control of the zone. They finally got a good hold, and they were just kind of able to snowball that all the way to the end there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like the snowball was definitely in effect. They were really good at taking their fights together too, and I feel like their special usage was really on point a lot of the time too. Like it never felt like any of their specials were wasted. It felt like even when they did pop them together, because it's usually like, oh, you have to stagger them. Even when they popped them together, they got use, which is really good to see. Like you're not just kind of throwing it at like a brick wall. Like it's actually doing something, which I love to see. But that's also not to discredit TAMU White at all here, because that was a really beautiful game. But it's kind of easier for zones because the objective just be sitting there, and you're like, well, I just throw my strikes in the same place every time, and they get value. And it's like, yes, but but for tower control, especially on TC Inkblot Art Academy, it is so lockout heavy. I don't know how many times I've seen on myself getting 100 to 0 pushed, or doing that myself, or just seeing it in tourneys too. But I'm expecting to see probably similar comps from both teams too. Like I feel like they're pretty versatile comps that could work on this map too. But what do you think?
I think I think we might see at least someone, I think, swap back to a backline. I feel like on Inkblot, backline is so strong in terms of just in terms of pushing, right? They're your anchor. They're usually the one on the tower, while also on defense they kind of anchor down that defense. Haha, anchor, right? But we usually kind of see that the anchor player kind of pushes the pace for the team. Inkblot is, or tower control in general, is a lot slower pace of a game, which I think will kind of be favored towards that anchor player, because the tower can only go so fast.
That's so true. I think on Inkblot, if you get too overzealous, like if you go into the bats, that little top area too quickly, you risk overheating, you risk overextending, and then you're just so much more susceptible to flanks in the long run here. So you're definitely right. I feel like it'd be interesting if these teams swap to a backline here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't either. Because also tower, I know folks just like to go full dive super fast, but it's nice to also have an anchor who be anchoring.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to see like if there are going to be any comp changes. I know for the side of Dooley Sheep, they do like keeping that double dually, so I think we're going to see that double splat dually coming back out again for them with actually, one's gonna be that bubble dually. But
Oh.
yes, we do see the transitions to an E leader and then the rapid pro deco on the side of TAMU.
Oh, I love to see Mandarin on that E-leader, which we've been seeing it get so much play. But I love to see weapons get a little bit of a time in the spotlight here. Looking at Typo still on the dualies, looking at Sylvette also still dualing it up. I love to see double dualies. That is so fun. They're going for like more hyper mobility with that dread to help support them in those fights, and that E-leader to be the stability, that backbone of their comp, which is really fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, we can see a slider gets popped out here. Dima not actually getting a pick with the slider. Gets taken down by O
Ooh.
on the Dynamo. This Dynamo doing some great work here. You know, the recent Dynamo buffs have been really great for a lot of these Dynamo players. And I'm glad to kind of see, you know, what these players have been able to really do with the Dynamo when with the buff.
Yeah, but I see the members of TAMU are so hyper aware of those flanks that they even get Typo to jump out. I mean, which is great. They make them give up that angle though, but at the same time they do crab right in their face, so that kind of stops the push right in their tracks. But that does bode well for TAMU's next push here because they were so aware of the flank. I feel like a lot of folks aren't when it comes to TC Inkblot. It's kind of like I do not see, like I'm not gonna look at the dualies. Oh. Oh, did they both die to that suction bomb? They were holding hands. They were holding hands. Oh, that's devastating.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Mandarin, no.
That's gonna be a delayed 3 down, and we see O in the bats of Do Leaf Sheep right now. This is gonna be a pretty strong push, I think, coming out from TAMU. They're trying to hold this bats area. Gets one pick onto Dima, has the cooler onto tower. They have the bubble out for UCSC, but that's gonna be 2 down on the side of both sides here.
Yes, and I love their positioning. I mean, they're so aggressively in the bats. Okay, I say that, and then they back up. But once again, they back up to deal with the flank. Typo here, they pretty much box Typo into a corner, which is really, really smart. And I mean, they're all kind of backing up here, realizing that their push is not stable. They let their they let their Dynamo go in there, get another pick, but they're able to go back to try to sustain this push further. I like that they're taking it a little bit slow and steady. You don't have to go to a huge, huge push. It can still kind of technically be 100-0. If you're just in a push for a really long time, which is what TAMU White is doing here.
Yeah, we can just see that there's a lot of patience coming out of their side here. The Dynamo, oh, here, almost gets taken out by the Dread, but got out before that last slosh gets out. Dread trying to just paint around mid for their team here. Ooh, nice pick out of the Dread here. Typo on that fight with the Dynamo. Gets taken down here. Dima gets that pick. That's pretty clutch there. And it's just kind of, again, a very back and forth fight here.
they re-slid Trooper into the corner. That's hilarious. Wait, and that low-key gives Leaf Sheep the room to get the tower for a little bit into their hands, like, albeit for like a little bit here, but it gives Mandarin a little bit of room to push up to get some more space onto that right stack. But Trooper here, the defensive crab, I mean, what are you going to do when you're staring into the barrel of that here? They're even stopping them from getting into the bats as well, which is good because we can already see TAMU White is going, that's a delayed 3 down here. They're still 2 down. They're quite staggered. But Typo here, popping that crab into their bats as well. They get one. Can they get the other member here? No. Endy gets them down, so they take control of their bats once again. And I don't think Leaf Sheep is going to be able to keep doing this push for much longer.
They're gonna have to back up a little bit here. Who unfortunately wasn't able to time that bomb there. The junior does go down on the side of low, and you know we're gonna just see again a constant back and forth. We see there was a flank on the backside there, but oh, with that Dynamo again, that Dynamo just doing so much for their team here. Gets another pick, and that's gonna be a delayed 2 down on the side of UC Santa Cruz.
My lordy lord. Oh my gosh, the aggressive junior bubble there into 3 of them. Low, I see you. Being able to help their teammates there clutch up a bunch of picks. They might Typo jump out here. And if I am the Leaf Sheepers that do be sleeping, and they do be dreaming of sleeping, they're backed up into their spawn pretty far, pretty convincingly. They don't have control even of their plat, let alone their bats, really. I mean, Typo here, they pop that crab once again. They're trying to get low out of here, trying to get low out of the right area. But once again, y'all gotta push. TAMU White is keeping them locked out of mid here. Low, their junior does go down. Sylvette trying to get onto the tower. Perhaps Mandarin gets on. Good, good. But I don't know if they can stand on it with that whale, with Endy. Yeah, and they get them down, and they just gonna hop right on that tower to take the second game here. Much more back and forth, but still, TAMU White is like not taking off the pressure here onto Leaf Sheep.
Yeah, and I think the hard part too was that, you know, we did constantly see Typo on the flank. You called it out, right? You know, TMU, they were constantly looking at those flanks, but I think, you know, that was the hard part, right? They were looking at the flanks. Typos wasn't really able to get too far into the flank without TMU noticing, and the flanks at the end just did not get their team too much value as I think they hoped they would.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a timing thing. Like the whole you need to have something to look at in front of you for a flank to work because you're not supposed to realize that the flank is happening for it to be effective. Or is it like a no, we want them to be looking at them. That's good. We want them to get their attention split, but it's not actually helping the three of them that are forward, not on that flank. It's not actually helping them push forward into the objective. So maybe they're not capitalizing off of the attention. Maybe it's a desync. Maybe they're just like not quite getting the timing right. Maybe it's like maybe they want a flanking crab. That would be hilarious. But I'm assuming we're gonna see very very similar comps going into crab like Rainmaker, our game 3 here. TAMU White once again up 2-0, and once again they only lost 4 games in groups. So we're seeing how strong they are here in this round as well in playoffs. They're just as strong as they were in groups here in Group 1. But Rainmaker Crab, like, there's so many greats. I feel like dualies, we'll probably see the double dualies again. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I like Crab here too. I think it's kind of funny. And I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll also see from TMU that I think that rapid pick was very strong for them on tower control Inkblot, and I wonder if they're gonna keep that here on Rainmaker Crableg, because you know with these grates all around, that's actually pretty strong for blasters to kind of just poke around the grates, you know, go a little bit under, see what they can do. But I'm interested to kind of see that it's you know it's interesting to see if there will be any composition changes, as I think E-Leader might be pretty strong on this map as well, but it might be a double-edged sword in terms of it's pretty hard to play on defense.
Yeah. I don't even have anything to add because you're so smart. We like Rice so much. Guys, I like Rice. We like Rice. But I'm also just thinking, like, momentum wise, I feel like it stings to have the first 2 games lost. Like, even if you don't like going 1-1, it makes you feel a little bit better. You're like, oh, we feel very evenly matched. But going 0-2, if I'm Leaf Sheep, the pressure's starting to get to me a little bit, and I'm gonna start to crack, and I get a little nervous. But something to keep in mind is that we did see a change. Like, I think that first game it was a lot harder for Leaf Sheep to get in, but they were finding some success against TAMU White, especially on such a lockout heavy map. Like, they got them out of their plat. Like, they didn't even push to that left checkpoint, which I think I see a lot on Inkblot particularly. So something is working. They just have to make it work for forever. For the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's really having that sustain, right? If you know that bubble, I think having that bubble dually and the crab tank, those two can sustain pretty well for their team. I think the main thing is just that timing, right? We kind of talked about it. The timing was really important for their team to run back to play with those specials. We do see the rapid coming back out on the side of TAMU and the pencil from Mandarin instead of that E-leader.
I guess that makes sense, like trading in your heavier backline for one that can push up a little bit faster here, and because maybe they wanted that cooler for the extra fastness and also the extra paint output here. Typo already here is like, guys, I don't want that early cooler. I'm gonna run in there. I'm gonna flank on top of them, and we're gonna get a good pinch going on here. They grab the Rainmaker, very, very smart. Gonna be able to push whenever they want to now too. And the Rainmaker itself is a weapon, folks. It's really, really great. If you want to push the Rainmaker, the Rainmaker does help it push itself.
Yeah, definitely. But we see Mandarin actually getting pushed pretty far back here. Thankfully, Typo there helping to defend the Rainmaker. They might go for this left checkpoint, actually. Looks like they're trying to get it. Gets the pig actually onto that Dreadringer. Nice pick there. And we're going to see that left checkpoint being pushed here from the side of UC Santa Cruz.
My gosh. And I mean, it felt like TAMU White, for the first time I've seen in this set, was panicking a little bit. Like, they were kind of dropping in very frantically trying to stop that Rainmaker there. So the cracks are forming onto this defense. And I think this hyper, I'm not gonna say the buzzword. I think this aggression is working. I think this aggression is working well for Leaf Sheep here. Oh, they all just exploded. Never mind. All right. Well.
Yeah, we do see that that was a wipeout on the side of Leaf Sheep. That's going to be the checkpoint for TAMU White. The Rapid gets kind of pushed out here, but one gets taken down a sec. That's going to be that trade out for for both sides, and that Crab Tank being popped on the side of Leaf Sheep might kind of stop this push from TAMU White.
Yeah, I mean, with how good they're positioned on those grates too, like we've been talking about how great those crabs are timed, and especially staring down the barrel of the pencil as well as a crab, you're not going to be able to make a push off of that here though. But Io here, sustainable bubble here, trying to keep this space for their teammates, works out well because their Dynamo is able to do a flank onto Mandarin. Mandarin, no, do they know? Oh, they roll over Sylvette, who tries to dodge roll away their Dynamo. They're jumping out. Very, very smart here. So TAMU White basically just hyper-aggressed into Leaf Sheep's base and didn't lose anything from it because they still have mid. They've got these specials online. ND here, they're chipping the heck out of Typo. They make Typo jump out. So they still have the upper hand here despite not having the lead. So just, you know, having the upper hand is great and all, but you need to see some pushes. Get on those grates. Get those feats on the grates.
Yeah, we kind of just see a lot of specials being popped here back and forth. Kind of that mid deathmatch here. Nothing really getting pushed yet, but we do see one going down on the side of TMU. That slider, I think, ran over Dima on their dread, and this might be TMU White's opportunity to push, but not if Sylvette has anything to say about it with that crab thing being popped.
Oh my lordy lord, these crabs, I can't stop yapping about them. I mean, they've been doing so much work here, but I mean, TAMU White, they want to get this lead so badly just by the 1-point meme. They trade out the Rainmaker, which is going to be good for Leaf Sheep. They maintain their lead here, but with all that hyper-aggression, folks, you've got to extend your lead. Rainmaker is too scary to only be in the lead by 1 point here. Typo trying to go for a little bit of a lockout there under their spawn, not successful. They don't have that angle here, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody from TAMU White drops onto the left to pinch them.
Yeah, we actually do see Endy dropping. Ooh, I think they got a dart pick off of that, which was pretty nice. But we do see Typo on this flank again. Gets taken down by OO. That's a delayed 2 on the side of Leaf Sheep. We see Sylvette popping that crab tank, trying to sustain for their team here. The bubble comes out for TMU on that top right side of the screen. We see the slider come out. That's all their specials being popped. And I think they're actually going for this left side for the lead.
And they do get it. No, what's interesting about that left side, though, is that I feel like the points feel like they go so much quicker because you're not walking on those dang grates. And I mean, like, the bubble from the junior will help with that. I mean, if Leaf Sheep was running that dually with the bubble as well, that would help with that. Wait, did they die to a suction bomb?
I think they get taken down to a bomb there. A little unfortunate. We do see, again, a lot of mid control out of TMU White. Slider comes out from Dima, but gets taken down from that punish there. We see just the Dynamo OO here trying to just hold this top right area, make sure that, you know, Leaf Sheep can't really push off of that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, and they've been stuck in their spawn this entire time here. Io here, once again in a wonderful bubble, completely keeping mid for the side of TAMU White, and they're able to pick off the Rainmaker, so they're going to have to pop in like 3 seconds. They want it. Oh, and it doesn't pop in time, and they're not able to grab it. In like the last minute or so, I feel like that push was so last minute. I can't remember how last minute, but still, TAMU White manages to maintain their lead here in this set, now 3-0 against Leaf Sheep, who do be dreaming of sleep.
They definitely do be dreaming of sleep here. And, you know, I felt like that game, that opening, again, from Leaf Sheep was really good, right? They had a lot of aggression at the beginning, but unfortunately, I felt like towards the middle and end of that game, they got a little complacent in terms of, you know, it was just deathmatch in mid, right? Everyone was popping specials. Everyone was like, oh, if we hold mid, we'll be fine. But there really wasn't any momentum being pushed forward, which was, I think, really favors the side of TMU White, as they have a lot of sustainable specials in terms of, you know, they had that big bubbler and just a lot of, you know, poking power with that rapid blaster.
Yeah, I wonder if what's happening with the problem with not pushing up into mid and like the constant special poppings back and forth with Leaf Sheep specifically is that double dually comp where they both had a crab. Um, So it was kind of like, well, the way I see it with double crab, it's good if like the two other teammates are usually ready to push up with the crab, or whoever doesn't have the crab is ready to put their life on the line to push up with the crab that is in use. Maybe I wasn't quite keeping an eye on the other dually while the one dually was crabbing, but I felt like I didn't see a lot of coordination with the crab itself. Like it was just kind of popped as like a thing to get people to move,
Mhm.
but it's usually good to combo off of it because it gets so much chip damage in. And it gets people to move, it gets people away from where you want them to be. So you might as well push up with it like any other aggressive special, like you would see Strikes or Reef Slider or something like that. So that might be where Leaf Sheep is falling a little bit flat here. Like with the bubble dualies, you could crab and then get the bubble dually in and then bubble. And then, oh, you have space now. But I think that might be where they're going wrong a little bit here. I would be interesting. It would be interesting to see if they try to go back to the other dualies here for Clanbut's Mako Mart, especially because they're down 0-3. But TAMU White, once again, that was a very narrow game. But even towards the end, like they were just looking so strong. They had such a firm hold on mid, Io on that junior. They just, it felt like Leaf Sheep just couldn't break in at all, even with the Rainmaker in their hands.
Yeah, and I think we have to be kind of careful here on the side of Do Leaf Sheep because this is also Mako Mart. This is Roller's Heaven. If yep, comes back out with that Dynamo Roller, we have to be just really careful on how we want to approach these stacks as the Dynamo can kind of just flick around. And we actually do see Double Crab still coming out from the side of Do Leaf Sheep, but it's actually the Dread Ringer switching to the Crab, and we go back to the Bubble Dually on the side of Sylvette.
Oh, but I love to see it. I was just talking about how I feel like maybe a little bit of a comp or a playstyle change would do Leaf Sheep well here. And we can already see Typo going for that aggression as well. But, oh, they were they shot the wall for a little bit. I was started shaking there. I started shaking there, right? But it's okay. It's okay. The Strikes and the Whale. My gosh, we're comboing specials like crazy here. And they've got a Reef Slider online. And they've got hella clams. They reef slide in, get a bunch of space. They back up the members of Leaf Sheep. They get 2 down. They have control of both of these stacks. They've got so many clams once again. They've got that economy down. I think they're about to make a push here. Io with that brush, able to sneak in. They get those clams in. They've got their push on their hands.
Yeah, and we kind of see here 2 down on the side of Dewleaf Sheep. The Mandarin gets taken down here. Kind of just a bloodbath back and forth. Just the 2 dualies left to defend. We see on that Dynamo gets Typo. And Sylvette. Oh man, this again, Dynamo being just so scary on this map.
Oh my gosh, with all the ledges, like I thought Dynamo's prowess kind of like got a little bit not as good as the farther you get into the opponent's spawn. Like it's so good on the stacks. I'm like, why would you go up there? But clearly I don't own an air fryer. Clearly I am wrong because they were pushing up there and they were killing it. But oh, that was a killer snipe from Mandarin, showing why they love E-Liter so much here. But once again, Leaf Sheep, the crabs, they're beautiful. I love them, but you've got to push up off of them. Oh my gosh. TAMU White, I didn't even see where the heck they spawned from. Some weird back alley from the undertow. My gosh. Oh, and they get in there. That's a power clam. Rice. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's just the constant pressure coming out from TMU. They're so relentless right now. We can see Io. Ooh! Okay, that was a
They were
great
holding hands.
wipeout.
I plead the fifth. Your Honor, they were in love in that corner fighting Sylvette, and Sylvette was stronger. They hate love. Valentine's Day is over. Oh! That's devastating. They do open the basket though, which is huge and awesome here for Leaf Sheep, showing that they can indeed make a good push happen out of something. And they still have a good amount of map control there with that bomb kill onto Io as well. Typo here, putting in the work, trying to keep this aggression alive, but you've got to go in with those crabs. You can't be holding hands forever. 2 dualies on a stack, they might kiss, but I don't want them to.
Yeah, we can kind of just see here, it's again the scatter because of these specials coming out and that Dynamo just being so threatening on stack, but that's actually going to be a pretty clean pick on the side. Double crab coming out.
Guys, what did I say? What did I say about holding hands on the stack? This is devastating. Wait, it doesn't even matter because Typo's going to score anyways. Rice, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, we do see Mandarin on the stack here has a lot of clams to score for their team. That's actually they're gonna get all their clams in. That's another power clam in. The side of Dooley Sheep, they only need one more to get lead. So Vet's still in, Spawn gets taken down, but Dima gets 2 clams in, and that's gonna be lead for Dooley Sheep. But they have to be so careful here. We see how fast TMU White is moving. They have 2 power clams ready, but Mandarin said no.
Oh my gosh, and with the E-Leader staring down at those power clams, girl, I wouldn't jump on those either. They lose both of them here. Okay, wait, I spoke too soon. Okay, they lose both of them here. They still do have their Biddy clam, but going into a minute left, it's gonna take a big push to make this happen, because well, I guess not that big, but you have to get that power clam in, and then you've got to get 3 clams in to even scratch that penalty you have, and then you can actually start scoring here. But with how aggressive Leaf Sheep is being here, with how much presence they have in mid, with that wave breaker, with the E-Leader staring down, with the crab, hopefully they don't hold hands and crab again together, that would be hilarious, but they have so much pressure here, they have so much chip damage that TAMU White is probably scared to push up. They're getting separated, they're getting completely staggered here. Typo here crabbing onto their stack and is able to get a pick off of it here because their friends are following up off of their aggression. And Mandarin scores into power clam just for funsies. My gosh.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that score, but never mind. Typo gets a couple picks here. That's gonna be, unfortunately, no points taken down, just penalty kind of being moved on the side of Dooley Sheep with that push. But Mandarin getting so many nice picks on this E-Leader on that left stack. I think they gotta be, Mandarin's gonna be such a good player on this defense, gets another pick there, and I think that's gonna be a strong hold for the side of Dooley Sheep, but we have to be careful if that Dreadringer gets the slider in. That's gonna be the ball getting scored. I think we see a jump coming in on the side of TMU White. That's gonna be the ball, but they didn't get the score.
Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. Wait,
there.
they didn't get it. I thought it was over. I was sat there stunned in silence because I thought it was over. I literally saw a member of TAMU White. I think they had like 3 clams or something, but they didn't put them in because they were waiting for the jump in. And then they still got the jump in. Their Dynamo with like they can't even paint their own feet because they're holding a big old thing in their hands. And I'm holding a pencil now because I'm so flabbergasted. They still got that power clam. I'm sweating. What is happening? That was nuts. That was crazy. Yes, replay.
Yes,
replay.
We need the replay. Yes. We see the first power clam there gets scored. That's going to be Mandarin taken down.
Yes, they have 3. They could have scored that. They could have scored. Wait, they did. I'm sorry. They did score the clams. I'm so sorry. But they opted to get the power clam. That's that kind of split moment decision. Oh, and they were kissing each other in front of the Dynamo, and they didn't shoot them. Devastating. I also get distracted when I'm looking into my teammates' eyes. I completely understand. But those are those clutch moments. TAMU White has that clutch factor, because that's insane. For it to be your Dynamo player of all players, of all weapons, to be able to do that movement to get the power claim in. Cinema. Absolute cinema.
Yeah, and I think on the side of Dooley Sheep, it was kind of awkward for that defense. I think they knew that, that TMU White was looking for that second power clam, right? We got the pick on the jump in, which was great, but they knew they were going to try to pick it up, but I think they just weren't too sure where they were coming from, right? They probably weren't sure where the Dynamo was, and what kind of, hurt them was that hump where you throw the clams in, because I think the 2 dualies were on it, but they were on opposite sides, so they were just hitting the little pedestal and not actually the person trying to go for the ball, which was seeing that at the end, you're like, oh, what could I have done better on the side of Dooley Sheep? But it's just those, again, as you said, the split-second decisions from the side of TMU White that kind of changed the result there.
Oh my lordy lord. And to give Mandarin their flowers once again for that game, what I noticed was that they got that pick, the one I was onto the Dynamo on that stack when they had just pushed, and then I think TAMU White was going to push into them, and then Mandarin sat on that same spot and then got that same exact pick twice in a row in that same situation, that same cycle. And that just goes to show that Backlines especially are prone to noticing your habits and what you do when you don't even realize that you're doing it. Like your habits, like to go once you just got out of your spawn, to where you go when you're trying to get back into mid. It's you have to be mindful of those things because those are the kind of picks that can really devastate you. I mean, TAMU White won anyways, but still, be mindful of your own habits and your own little autopilots that you go to and the places that you tend to go to a lot here. But I gotta stop yapping, Rice. We're at match point for TAMU White after that crazy last game. My gosh. We gotta.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
We
Ooh.
do see the heavy splatling coming out on the side from ND for on splat zones on wow, undertow, no, not undertow, umami.
Close enough.
Jesus
Close
Christ.
enough. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and we still love you. We like Rice. But Io here back onto the junior. I love to see it. With the splash, with the crab as well. The heavy. I've been seeing so much play of as well. I feel like it can paint like just as well as a junior, which is the highest esteemed of compliments you could ever get in your life. However, nobody's playing the zone. Okay, we're good. But once again, that crab was popped so early. Oop, another crab. Really funny. Completely pushing back the members of TANU White into their spawn though. But Io here knows how to play ball. They are just spamming bombs onto the zone, which unfortunately their teammates, they're not able to clutch it up. They're not able to push up there off of that pressure from Io and those bajillion bombs, which are hilarious. But maybe their Dynamo friend is. No, not quite. O_O with the little beautiful face. And their heavy's gonna go down too here. Okay, Leaf Sheep. They've got the zones game down here. Mandarin's pushed up. Oh, and they get a pick onto their Dynamo as well. They're looking so good here, right? My gosh.
Yeah, and I also just realized it is triple crab tank. Ooh, what a pick from Van crab cancel.
That
Like, talk about the crabs. Look at me.
no, that is sick nasty. And then after that, they couldn't even come back in. You see that their heavy, their heavy was like stuck in the running animation out of spawn. That was hilarious. But that was I don't even know. Maybe you know what? I was like talking so much crap about the like, oh, you have to push up with the crabs. Maybe I just need to shut the heck up because apparently you can run triple crab. Mandarin's gonna kill everyone. They're flipping their dualies in my face. They're making fun of me because I'm a fool apparently. No, but that they like had the secret sauce. That was so nuts. Like, yes, the replay, beautiful.
Oh,
Yes, to
yes,
see it
the
again.
replay. That
Whoa.
crab cancel was so clutch too because I think that it really stopped the momentum of Timu on
Yeah,
take. Oh.
yeah. And I mean, they even with the wave breaker, it picked off the person who was ready to run in with the crab. Like it was a perfect double because the other two members of TANU White were a little bit backed up. They were waiting to see what was going to happen with that crab to then push in with it. But Andy was ready to go all in, and they just got taken out by the wave. So that was like once again chef's kiss, like no notes. But zones be happening like that. Especially when an E-leader gets stationed up on zones, it feels like you just cannot push them out at all. So I'll be interested to see if for tower control shipshape cargo, similar to Inkblot, where it feels like you get locked out and you just can't get the heck out, I'd be interested to see if they stick with the E-leader. They probably will because that's what they did for Inkblot. But what do you think? What do you think?
I think E-leader can be very strong here. I'm interested to see if they stick with that triple crab tank composition though, because I was like, oh, they have two crab tanks. They popped them both on top mid, and then I saw a third crab tank. I'm like, wait, did someone get a crab tank after they used it already? And
Oh,
like,
they're gone.
oh.
They're sick of the crabs. They're gone. No, it's okay. We can keep yapping about it. We just slowly faded. We don't even look at them. That's so funny. No, but the triple crab, I can't even like. Somebody's gotta talk to me about what the heck. If Leaf Sheep wins, we're gonna have to ask them about the triple crab comp in the interview because I don't know what they were like. I can't even be like smart and be like, ooh, theoretically, indubitably, they were thinking of like I don't even know. It's like what do you think?
You know, just reminds me that we might be back in 2023 when we saw triple crab tank coming out from each team. Thankfully, we're not in triple splash, at least with the crab tanks. But it's interesting to see how that dynamic works, because when we think of crab tank, right, I kind of when I talk to players when they pop crab tank, when they have an anchor player, the anchor, we kind of have to think of the crab as a pseudo anchor, right? It's a combination of Hydra and Explode into one, right? So if you do have an anchor player, most of the times, you're gonna pop the crab where the anchor wants to sit. So
And they gotta move, or you have to move. It's a whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's that positional awareness of both the crab player and that anchor player to know, like, hey, they're gonna pop crab. Where can I stand that doesn't look like I'm holding the crab's hand?
Exactly. But like, I feel like they were doing so well at that. Like excuse me, they had Mandarin on like that little box near that choke on Umami, which was working out really, really well for them here. Oh, Rice.
The triple
Rice.
crab tanks back out again.
Are those 3 crabs I see with my beautiful eyes? And oh, our little face here. They're on the Octobrush? Have they played this in this set? Am I?
I don't
Chat,
think
is
they
this
have,
real?
but- Oh, the picks trades going back and forth right now. We can kind of see on the side of Dooley, they're holding this top side of the map, as we see on the spectator cam. Mandarin holding that charge to try to get someone off tower, but unable to. They did bubble. I think that was a bomb onto that bubble to take that pick.
It looked like it. Listen, you don't know how many bombs I've exploded to off the side of my own bubble as a junior. It is humiliating, and I feel like a chud. But the chudification is not going to be happening here to TAMU White. They are not letting that stop them. They are pushed up here. This Zipcaster grabbing so much attention, getting so much pressure onto them here. Not quite able to get a pick, but it does pull the members of Leaf Sheep away from the tower here in the meantime. They're a little bit staggered. They're really backed up here into their spawn, and not even in Zipcaster, just for the love of the game. Oh, here, our little friends, their little face. They get so much pressure here. They give it up, going to defend their friends on the tower. They go for a little bit of a left flank onto the grates to keep Leaf Sheep on their toes here, and they stop the tower a little bit here. Sylvette and Typo jumping onto it, trying to keep themselves alive here into the set, because once again, TAMU White, they're at match point. If they win this game, they win the set.
Yeah, but we do see finally just some stability coming out of the side of Leaf Sheep. They're able to push back into mid here on the side of TMU White. They're just trying to find ways to get back in. Ooh, nice start pick from ND here. ND, getting some really nice picks coming out, but just again the back and forth in mid right now, just picks going back and forth. We can kind of see ND trying to push with that killer whale, but the crab tank being popped on the side of Leaf Sheep is gonna stop that forward momentum.
And I mean, with all the aggression that TAMU White has here, and with the paint too, like with a junior and an NZAP on your team, and with the aggression from OO, it can be really, really hard for Leaf Sheep to push at all here. I mean, we can already see them here. Io is dipping and dodging, trying to grab their attention. They do manage to take them out here, which is great, and that doesn't even stunt their push whatsoever here. They're jumping back to each other. They jump into do the crab onto tower, which is great, but I think the bomb exploded and they got somebody under them, and the Zipcaster bullying this crab, and then they take them out. No, it's a crab bullying.
Yeah, but we do see, at least that was a push for the side of UC, for the side of Leaf Sheep, and it might just be that mindset shift for them to kind of push back in here. We see ND being a little aggressive on that rapid, getting a pick, trying to get a pick onto Dima, but they're just backing up, knowing that they can try to bait them into a fight for their team, but that's gonna be trades going back for both sides.
Oof, and with the whale coming out, I mean, they're completely stopping Leaf Sheep from pushing the tower, because they're like taking all these like crazy fights separate from each other, which in theory should not work there. Like ND does get taken out, OO gets taken out there off their recall, but they make TAMU White they make Leaf Sheep a little bit disorganized, to where when it's their time to push, they have trouble getting it off the ground because they're a little bit separated. And we can already see that here, because they're fighting a few different fights here, which Sylvette is able to clutch up and win, but then that crab like went all the way across the map. That was hilarious. But once again, I'm eating my words, because Leaf Sheep here already trying to threaten to get this lead back here from TAMU White. They're pushing this tower really well. Mandarin here is able to get that pick. Oh, no, there's 50 bombs in the tower. Never mind. All right, good night.
Lots of bombs going back and forth. We can see that, the crab tank is popped. We get OO down. We see IO trying to push the tower. I think they're gonna fall off the map. Oh no. And we see Trooper here, last one standing. They were the Trooper. Gets a trade at least for the team. That's gonna be the lead swap for the side of Do Leaf Sheep. We see Dima on this crab tank. Gets the pick on OO, and that might just be the tower. More points going down for the side of Do Leaf Sheep.
Oh my gosh, and they're still pushing. My gosh, Demi here onto this tower. Okay, they're not able to get that pick onto Io, and they popped that bubble with a bajillion bombs probably, waiting for them behind door number 3. I don't think Leaf Sheep is going to be able to keep this push going here, but they don't need to because they have the lead. And pretty comfortably. I mean, they're going to have to push up quite a bit into their spawn here, but we know how lockout heavy. Oh, Mandarin also swimming with the fishies is our next victim here. Is going to be going back to that respawn point here. So TAMU White, they have quite a bit of ways to go here, but we do know Leaf Sheep, and we do know that they're about to pop 3 crabs at the same time while Mandarin shoots at the tower, and that might stop their push. Oh,
yeah, but Mandarin gets taken down by that Zipcaster. The bubble is popped on the side of TMU White. 1 crab popped. Oh, that's the lead swap last minute there.
No, they were too focused on holding hands in the crab. Oh my gosh. That is devastating. they had such a good comeback there in those last 2 games, but TAMU White clutching it up, taking that last game there 5-1 against Leaf Sheep. Big kudos to them. But we're going to look at this lovely replay. Thank you, Wings. We love you, Wings. Looking at this. Yeah, I mean, the paint control is just so hard to beat. Look at that. My gosh. I mean, Junior's already a sprinkler with 50 bombs stuffed into their pants. And then NZAP is already another sprinkler with the evil cooler. With the cooler there, taking shots for them as a little body blocker, as a little bodyguard. Sorry, I was really close to my monitor. I was like this. I had to back up a little bit. But that was really good. Once again, TAMU White showing up with their clutch factor. Beautiful games from them. They take this. Like I said, they were going to be the team to beat. And they win this set very well here, 5-1. Many claps.
Yeah, but honestly, some of these games were in the hands of TMU White, but the first couple of games, that first Splat Zones game and that Rainmaker Crab Leg games, if those went to the side of Do Leaf Sheep, it might be a different story here. Those games kind of came down to those last minutes. Even this last game on tower control ship shape, right? It came down to those last couple of seconds here where, TMU White had those last few picks that came in really clutch for them to lead them to that victory.
Yeah. It was just so beautiful. And Leaf Sheep Dream of Sleep do hold a special place in my heart because I've commentated them 11 times. They probably hate me by now. They're about to throw rocks at me at Riptide if they ever go. But it was lovely seeing them again too. I think their comps were so funny, and I love that it was like working though. Like that's so crazy. Like TAMU White won in overtime there. Like it wasn't like a huge sweep, and it wasn't a comp issue because they were doing some damage with it. So I gotta respect it. I gotta respect the triple crab, I guess. I'm sorry.
Definitely. I mean, it's also just like at a certain point, when do you focus on your comp and when do you focus on, what your players play best, right? If your players do well on a certain weapon, maybe you just put them on that weapon and just kind of roll with it, right? Just because it's better for the comp, that doesn't mean the players are going to be better on that weapon, right? So I think, that it really does, come down to comfort of the players, but also just strategy, right? Just because, we don't see the vision, that doesn't mean the players don't see the vision.
Exactly. And with that, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for watching this wonderful match. That is going to pretty much like wrap up the weeks of this week of quarterfinals, and then we're going to be doing like semis next week. You're going to be seeing some fun semis matches on CCA as well. But this was an amazing match from Div 2. I love seeing the amazing teams from across divs here, from like Div 1 to Div 1000, because there's 1,000 CCA divs, because there's a million CCA teams. It's crazy. But from the bottom of my heart, I love watching CCA. But I'm going to sign off because our lovely streamer Wings is a little eepy. So my name is Grace. Thank you for watching. And you can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter, but I don't really like Twitter. But what about you, Rice?
Yeah, we can find me. Hold on. Oh, I got it. Wait. We can find me at Blue Sky as well, and I guess Twitter, but mainly Blue Sky. You can also find me running Uyabe in NorCal. We're working on some stuff in the background right now. But you know, you can always find me there, running around, being a TO, screaming at everyone to play their sets. But
Fantastic.
yeah, again, really appreciate everyone watching this set. But you know, we have a lot more CCA coming up the next couple of weeks. You know, we are in playoffs right now, so the heat's about to pick up.
And maybe we'll see TAMU White once again, or another TAMU team. TAMU Maroon is also in this div. Why did I forget the word for div? But once again, that's all for us right now. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely night, and we'll see you next weekend or week. Whenever there's a match, we'll find it. We'll find you. We'll find you.